Marketing your clothing brand is extremely fucking easy, and my main objective of this video is for you to understand and have full clarity on what you need to do to actually get this thing going. Because I see time after time in this industry, in this YouTube space, in this Instagram space, that people just like to overcomplicate shit. And that leads to people actually not doing the right shit, right? Most of the branders that struggle, they don't have the right input to get the right output because they don't have the right clarity. So after you watch this video, I'm gonna show you how to actually market your clothing brand, and you're gonna be able to do it because for the first fucking time, you're gonna be able to understand what I'm saying, okay? So before anything, okay, before ads, before anything, the first thing that we need to understand is the core foundation, okay? And that really comes down to three main fundamental things, okay? Number one is, who do we sell to? Okay, first things first is understanding who we're actually selling our clothes to, okay? And after we've answered that, we need to understand how can we help these people, okay? So once we understand who we actually sell to, we need to make sure we understand how can we provide value to them, because quite frankly, that is why they're going to give us money for their clothes, because our clothes is sort of that middleman that exchanges value to them, okay? And the third thing that we need to answer is, why choose our brand to XYZ value, okay? And this is the most important part. If your core brand foundation answers these three questions fundamentally, then your marketing and your messaging is going to be 10 times clearer, okay? So let's actually get into this, okay? My theoretical example, okay? So first things first is, who do we sell to, okay? If I have a gym brand, who do we sell to, my type of avatar, my type of ICP is not someone that just goes to the fucking gym and, does shit. Okay, my ICP, we really need to get specific with this, because how can we help these people has a direct correlation, right, on who do we actually sell to. Because how are we meant to help them if their problem is so broad, right? We need to get real. For example, if you're going to a doctor, right, we want to make sure we have an understanding of what their exact problem is, not just they're sick. Right? Because how are we meant to provide the right value? How are we meant to help in the right way if we don't understand the specific pain point? But the first thing before understanding the specific pain point is understanding, who do we actually sell to? So the first thing that you need to do before anything else is get real specific on our ICP, right? Get very specific on the type of person that we sell. Now I'm going to give you an example, okay? Let's just say I have a streetwear brand. Who I'm selling to isn't just an 18-year-old kid who likes streetwear. My characteristics of who we're selling to is an 18 to 20-year-old who likes skateboarding, who smokes a lot, who's ambitious, who wants to provide something for their family, who is nitty gritty, who likes fish and chips, who doesn't like school, who's very entrepreneurial, very specific. Because once we understand who do we sell to in that depth of manner, our next question of how can we help these people becomes very easier. Because once we understand their daily characteristics, we can understand their daily pain points and what they go through every single day. Because once we understand their daily pain points, we have the daily solutions we can provide to them, okay? Now, once we actually identify, obviously, number one, who do we sell to? Number two is, how can we help these people, right? So what is our solution, right? Let me give you an example. If I have a gym brand, right? And our characteristic is competitive bodybuilders who sweat a lot, who have this maybe characteristic where they sweat a lot and their shirts stick. So we made a compression shirt where it doesn't stick, right? That is our solution. That is how we're gonna help that very specific ICP. Now the question is, why choose our brand to provide that value? Right? Because quite frankly, you might have a unique mechanism, you might have a product that's super special or whatever it is, but quite frankly, you don't. Okay, and we need to act in a position where we don't, right? So why choose our brand to XYZ value? Okay, and this really comes down to, which I'm sort of going to go over on sort of later on the video, but it really comes down to branding / storytelling. I don't know if you guys can see. Okay, storytelling. I am trying my absolute best to actually write this perfectly so you guys can see, okay? branding slash storytelling. So if you have like a personal story, like if you have a sort of a brand founder led story that's in relation to this and perfect, that ultimately separates and creates leverage between your separation between your competitors. Okay. Next one is our USP slash UVP, which is our unique selling point of the product. So what the unique mechanism of the product and what makes your product different, okay? And our value proposition as a product, okay? Well, how can the different value that we provide, and this sort of relates to how can we help these people, okay? So if you can answer these three questions very, very fucking clearly, then you are ahead of your competitors, okay? So now, I want to make this very clear. You can have the best product in the world, okay? And you can have the most core foundationally sound brand in the world. Amazing. But if you don't have attention, then nothing will matter, okay? Let me delete this. Okay. Now, the main thing I want you to understand is this, okay? If you understand this, it's going to simplify everything for you, okay? There are two main principles of scaling your brand to $1 million a month, okay? Number one is product. I see this pen dying a bit. Hopefully this lasts until the end of the video, okay? Product, which is quite frankly the value we provide to our customers, okay? So the core brand foundation and the actual physical product itself, okay? Now, you can have the best product in the world and you can provide the best value in the world, but nothing will matter unless attention, okay? So the second thing is acquisition, okay? And this, my friend, is quite frankly talking about how do we get our value seen by the right people, okay? Because once again, if you have the best product in the world, right, it doesn't matter, right? You need both of these to scale. And most importantly, most of the brands talk to, they've dialed down the product. They have the most amazing product and they're wondering why they can't get sales, okay? It's not the product. You don't just keep on dropping more, okay? It's mainly about the acquisition, okay? Which I am gonna go through in the second part of this video. Now, so you have to ideologically think about the core brand foundation, your product as like the driver, okay? That's you, and obviously you can have the most amazing car, but if the driver is shit, then obviously nothing's gonna work. But let's just say you have the core brand foundation dialed and you have an amazing product. Now it comes to the situation of actually building our vehicle, okay? So the machine that drives traffic to the core foundation. So you sort of have to look at it as, let's just say this is sort of our core foundation. This is our product right here, okay? How do we get eyeballs, right? Eyeballs to our thing? Because quite frankly, okay, this is sort of like the oxygen of the brand. We need that. That is like what makes everything come alive, right? Because without eyeballs, we can't generate cash for the business. And there are two ways that you're going to do it, and this is quite frankly the most efficient two ways that you're going to do it, okay? Number one is organic marketing, okay? And number two is ads. Specifically for small clothing brand owners, it is going to be Meta ads. Now, I'm going to go into ads in a second, okay, because it is important, but I want to talk about organic marketing. Now, there's two things that you need to understand. Number one, it's free, meaning you don't have to spend any money to get traffic coming to your website. It sounds fucking amazing, but the second thing is it's slow. Okay, it is very slow in actually generating the type of attention, type of sales you want. So what we want to do is we actually want to utilize organic marketing and ads together to fundamentally work well off each other, okay? But I'm going to go through and talk about organic marketing first, okay? Damn, my whiteboard is turning red. Okay, okay, let's go organic. Okay, to have a successful organic marketing strategy or whatever it is, okay, there are only 3 fundamental type of content that we need to be posting on our brand, okay? And again, you'll probably realize once you have your core foundation set up and once you understand your product very well and ICP very well, this type of content will come very, very easy for you specifically, okay? Bear with me. I'm just checking if you guys can see. Okay, so we have our top of funnel content, our middle of funnel content, and bottom of funnel content. The main thing that I want you to understand is not every single content that you post has the same attribution, does the same thing that it's meant to do, okay? That's why our type of content that we post need to be split up into 3 different parts because each type of different content has 3 different deliverables, okay? Our top of funnel content is responsible for bringing mainstream attention for your brand. So all the main eyeballs. But the problem is not all these eyeballs are going to be necessarily number 1, your ICP. Okay, that's impossible to only attract your ideal customer profile or type of audience. And number 2, they're not all ready to buy because they've just seen your brand through this type of content. Okay, so the top funnel content is very focused on, if you guys can see, mainstream attention, right? Mainstream attention like trends, product trend. Again, doesn't have to be those cringy, stupid ass fucking TikTok dances. Just talk about main product trends, okay? To actually grab the mainstream audiences, okay? So either that be a point of view video. Again, you see all these viral videos, those are all top of funnel content. And quite frankly, these are reels. And I like to utilize reels just because on Instagram, it has a larger traffic to you and it has its own area where people can actually doom scroll. And it gets so much more exposure than just carousel static posts on Instagram, right? So top funnel is usually reels and it talks about the brand as a whole, okay? Brand as a whole, meaning of, not really going in depth on what the brand actually does, but having a clear understanding of, what the brand is. That's it, right? Or who we are, what we do, what sort of we can solve in a trendy, in a mainstream way to capitalize on everyone, okay? Now, the organic marketing, you get eyeballs through here, but like I said before, not everybody comes through and actually goes through and buy, which is sort of our goal. You can have a $5 million view reel, but fucking shit cares, right? If you don't get sales, okay? Now, middle of funnel is where we actually talk about your unique value proposition as a brand. So making content about what value we provide as a brand, not product yet, as a brand. So this could specifically be model shots, again, brand aesthetic, lifestyle pictures, usually see content, right? It's going specific about your product maybe, stuff like that, right? So as you can see, from this, we are educating our buyers through our middle of funnel content, right? Because now we have an understanding of, okay, we're getting flow, we're getting attention to our basic branding and aesthetic. Now we're going into detail about what our brand actually does, right, into detail, right, through the different models we use, different videos we use, the VSLs and all that type of stuff. Now we want the bottom funnel content is specifically about products, product detail. So going into like maybe quality, for example, if I used that gym brand earlier, maybe the functionality of what we actually solve, again, the sweat resistant against this compression shirt, okay, product detail, okay, but also any offers that you have, right? Because bottom funnel should do sort of the last bit of pushing, right? Informing your audiences on why they should choose us and why they should go to our website and buy from us, right? This could also be founder story, stuff like that, right? Specifically offers, and then obviously leading to your website, we should do the purchase. This is the basic fundamental acquisition of organic marketing, okay? So you have top of funnel, basically your main content, right? Especially for small brands, top of funnel content will be your main content because that is what most brands struggle with, bringing attention, okay? So dialing down on mainstream audiences, Instagram Reels, trendy stuff. Again, if you're watching this and you have a luxury brand, I'm not telling you to do a TikTok trend or any of that stuff, but it needs to be in par to mainstream. It can't be very specific about, oh, my brand is for, it has X, Y, Z. Like nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck, okay? You need to grab their attention first. It's sort of like the hook into the brand, and you want to get them through the buyer's journey of understanding your brand. It's like, for example, you go on a date with a girl, right? You don't want to just share everything, about my life and what has happened over the past 30 years. Nobody is that interested or invested into you. What you want to do is show your best qualities, show that you smell good, just take her out on a nice day. that's sort of what I mean by top of funnel content. Now, as you go on and go to different types of dates with this girl, you want to make sure they have an understanding of what type of person you are, and obviously get to know you more, right? To build that relationship, right? It's the same thing with a buyer's journey. It's just a relationship journey from the top to the bottom, and obviously the bottom funnel where you're actually dating the girl. She knows, what you do for a living, whatever it is, right? That you want to know, okay? And that is where we get into specific details. Meeting their family, meeting their parents. Again, you have to think of it this way, okay? There's just not just this one content you post, and it's not just this one type of video you post and it's good quality and where's my sales? No, you need to make sure it follows through buyer's journey, okay? Now, if you're a small brand, I recommend 70% of the content you post is top of funnel content. The reason for that is you need attention, okay? And same way, middle funnel and bottom funnel won't work. You need top of funnel for the middle funnel and bottom funnel to work, okay? Only top of funnel won't get you sales if you don't have a good bottom funnel and middle funnel. So they're really 33.33% each on the actual attribution to its sales together, okay? This will take time, this will take testing. DM me if you have any questions with that, okay? So that is organic marketing, okay? I was trying to find a spray in this room, but I don't have it, okay? But the main thing I want you to focus on organic marketing is do not be so much held up on about sales, because that will come. And this is why what I'm going to talk about next with ads, it's exactly going to tie it up with ads, because without good organic marketing, our presentation, our brand perceived value is going to be shit. Now, organic marketing, focus on building a community, focus on bringing attention, focus on actually just building a connection of who we actually know, just making sure like people know what we actually do, right? Because quite frankly, ads is what's going to bring in the sales, okay? Now, Meta ads, you guys can see that, okay? Meta ads is our sales machine, okay? The goal of meta ads, and if you're a brand that has never run meta ads, is not trying to scale to 10K a month, 20, 30K a month, fast as you can. It is to build a machine, a liquidated, well-sufficient machine where if you put $100 in, you can bring $300 back efficiently and scale from that basic foundation. That is the main goal on what you need to do to build a meta ads acquisition system for small clothing brands. Now the question is, how do we get meta ads successful? And I'm gonna simplify everything. The only thing that you need to focus on with meta ads for your clothing brand is I don't know why I just wrote that. You probably can't fucking read that through my terrible handwriting. It is to find a creative that resonates with your customer. That's it. Because at the end of the day, ads are not responsible for generating your sales. Yeah, I sort of contradict myself by saying it is a sales machine, but quite frankly, all ads is just getting your messaging, getting your product out to the right people. That's all it is, okay? That's literally all it is, right? And our job as a media buyer, someone that is running ads for clothing brands, is to find a creative that resonates with the brand's customer, with your brand's customer, okay? Now the question is, right, okay, how the fuck do we do that? And I'm gonna blow your fucking mind, okay? Just wait 1 second. Hopefully you can read that. Test. We need a test, right? We need to test that creative. That's literally all meta ads is, right? Testing creatives to find which one it is, but it's not just about you putting random images in and just giving it a fucking go and losing all your fucking money. That's not what I'm about testing. Testing with intent, testing with structure, testing with knowing what KPIs that we need to look for, knowing everything that we need to look for, okay? Now, I'm not gonna go too much into the actual meta ads acquisition because I do have a video on this, a full fucking free course explaining the exact strategy, exact setup, everything that I use with meta ads. So I'm gonna put that link in the bio, okay? But what I'm gonna go through is a basic operations of meta ads on how you need to test. So there are mainly two things that we really need to do, okay? Let me put this here. And if you're running ads, this will make sense because this is super important. First things first is you always want to test in batches, okay? what I mean by that is, for example, if I have an image of flat lay between a red hoodie, I want multiple image of it, right? It's because you always want to test in batches to give Facebook the most option and variety, okay? So always test in batches, okay? And number two is don't get too head up on the actual ad structure because quite frankly, CBO, ABO, they all fucking work. But in an orderly sense, right, we're gonna have one campaign running like this. We're gonna have two ad sets like this, okay? And in this ad set, okay, let's just ad set 1, ad set 2, campaign, we're gonna have batches, right? So in this ad set, we can have a flat lay with 4 different iterations of that flat lay, okay? And ad set 2, okay, with maybe a video of unboxing, we can have 4 iterations of that video, okay? You see what I mean by testing by batches? Because once we actually test by batches, number one, we're comparing the type of creative concept that we're giving Facebook the option to test, but also we're working at iterations of what actually works in terms of product, the background, the hook that we use, the sound that we use, the text that we use, all that type of stuff. We figured that in the ad level. So we're actually testing 2 things at the same time. The one biggest thing I want you to make sure you get out of this video is always test in batches, because if we don't, we're not actually testing. We're just giving Facebook a bunch of fucking different shit and just giving shit a go, right? So that's gonna be it for meta ads, okay? Because I do have a full video on this, guys, okay? Okay, the last part is obviously the ads is sort of the actual vehicle, right? Sort of, if you have a good system with ads, it's sort of like, you know, you have the fucking Ferrari, right? A brand that has good systems is have a Ferrari, but what does a Ferrari need to get it going? See here, right? It's oil, right? Because let me actually bring this up closer like this. Beautiful, okay? It's oil, right? Which is going to be our creatives. Without the right fundamental aspect of creatives, if you don't have the right input, you're not going to get the right output. Same with organic marketing, same with ads. So everything comes down to our oil, okay? Everything comes down to our creatives. Now, the question is, how do I make winning creatives? Okay, and there's only 3 fundamental aspects that you need to understand to forever make winning creatives, and I'm gonna go deeper into the ads aspect, okay, because I did talk on the type of creatives on the organic marketing, so I'm gonna go deeper into the actual ad aspect, okay? Form. Okay, now these 3 things, if you understand this, you have broken the game. Okay, now the question is, first things first is scroll stop. Second is inform/detail, and third is click/stop CTA. Within your ads, within the 3-second act, as soon as you see the ads, you need to stop them on the scroll. You need to inform/detail on your product or whatever it is, right? Unique selling point, why they should buy from you, product feature, all that type of stuff. And third, you need to get them to click through urgency, scarcity, a clear CTA. Okay, now scroll stop. Attention, right? So distributing and testing through different colors, different video hooks, visually pleasing creatives, scroll stopping through insane quality. That's all a big factor, right? So that's scroll stop, right? Which is quite frankly making sure they stop. So when you see an ad, right, make sure your ad doesn't look like another fucking ad because they're not gonna stop, right? Make sure it actually stands out from the rest of the shit, right? Because that's the most important when it scroll stops. Because none of this shit matters without scroll stop, okay? The second thing that you do is inform/detail. So if you have a strong offer, if you have an informed product solution, a detailed product solution, if you have a direct problem that you solve, your value proposition as a brand, who do you actually sell to, all the details that is necessary to get and educate your buyers needs to go in inform/detail. The third one is click. Again, adding scarcity, adding limited time, because quite frankly, people still need to be pushed even though they might be interested, okay, in terms of what they need to buy. Okay, so adding your offer to it, right? You sort of have to look at this as sort of like your last 2% push on getting your customer from, actually clicking on clicking on the ad to go to your landing page. And that landing page should do the rest of the selling. Okay, so through urgency, scarcity, limited time, special offers, all that type of stuff. Okay, this is the fundamental aspect of the oil. Okay, now once we combine the oil with the right vehicle, right, which is the ad mechanism that goes well with the right organic mechanism, and then we have the right core brand foundation, you're going to have a really successful fucking clothing brand, okay? It really is, okay? All right, hope you guys got some value. If you have any questions, shoot me a message on Instagram, link is in bio. Again, if you want to learn more in depth about the ads, I did make a full course, that's why I didn't go too much in depth. I'll also leave that link in bio. If you're actually serious about growing a clothing brand, if you actually want to talk and have an audit around your brand, book a call below. Me and my team will speak to you and help you out.